start the whole thing off from there. And the way I describe it is I tell people that, like, this is a stupidly informal interview. It's all about you. And a lot of the questions are pretty much about who you are, what you play, and why you play. And the so I'm mostly looking for your experience.
Why, thank you, sir.
So you've been playing a lot more of the Division. I remember discussing that a little bit.
Yes, I have been because it's easy to jump into and just have fun with.
Yeah.
And it's low maintenance as far as being able to keep up to date with stuff. You know, gearing, being able to do high level content, etc.
Have you gotten into that new area?
Which one? Hey, I'm still relatively new to the Division, but the not Dead Zone.
Yeah, they added like another part, like a docks or a new part of the Bay Area.
Oh
that's not
yes,
the starting
carrier
one.
and whatnot. Yes, yeah, I love that place.
Okay.
Just walk around with all the world bosses that are there and just blow them up. Yep, love it.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen that yet. I stopped playing the Division before that came out, but I keep hearing from people that the addition of that really made it a hell of a lot better. So I'm hoping to just get in there and take a look at that part. So have you picked a location that you would like to stand or sit around?
I think, how about going through Starfleet Academy, and I think I'm in, what, 1?
Sure, I'll come down to Academy.
Number 2, yeah.
Okay, I should be able to find you all right. Beam down, all right. Fun. Maybe it'll be nice to put me in the same one. It did. Ah, I can see you on the map. Good. Oh wait, there's knocking at the door. Hold on.
No worries.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm starting. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing the interview right now. No, it's okay. Your timing is perfect. Like you got here right before.
Oh, before. Okay, good. I was just crap.
No, 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 no. It's all right. Minor stuff going on.
No worries, man. Trust me, no worries at all.
Okay, I'm just warning people. Normally when I do this, I have better control of what's going on in the house. But apparently plans changed. So, oh, this is a good idea. All right, and I found that to control F11 because for some reason Alt F12 did not work correctly. Okay, and let me turn this on. So, the first thing that I would like you to do is basically just introduce yourself. You can say, you know, I'm Odin Knight. This is Star Trek Online, and then something, you know, something that you do, or something that you think identifies you as a person.
Person in game or just in general?
Actually, either works.
All right. Well, I'm Odin Knight. I've been known in the STO community as the Torpedo Guy. I've been one of the hosts of the show, which has its spurts now in 2018, whether it'll be on and off depending on what's big is coming out. Zeph Films is pretty much doing his own thing right now with his videography. The DPS After Dark crew have been taking over where the show is left off. You'll see STO Tech Trek where they go through some of the mechanics. They're on vacation right now and they'll be back later on. And you will see a couple of us playing different games but still hopping into STO and blowing up stuff whenever they're there. As far as a person, in game, I'm known as the tactician, whether it's World of Warcraft, STO, whatever. I come up with different tactics, and I usually go after the biggest, baddest target there, whether I'm the tank or a DPS. I just play the nuker types. If you see my stream on the Division, I am the specialist type of heavy weapons, heavy ordnance type of guy. Come up with big bombs, big booms, big nukes, and I just blow stuff up. In real life, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm more of the caretaker. I'm a father of 3 beautiful, smart, intelligent, and very, very, very active girls. Or into everything from sports to theater to anything academic, robotics, STEM related. They got it. Proud father, very proud of that. Very much nurturing their activities. I help them with their martial arts. Some of the dance moves I show, the martial arts. Just kind of give them a little bit of philosophy of life and show them how they can benefit themselves while helping other people.
Excellent. Actually, that's great. So for the next part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by introducing that this is an interview and that this is like an MMO Anthropology interview. I have an introduction, and if I flub it, I'll just repeat it. I say that every time. I haven't flubbed it yet, but I probably will in the future. Yeah, I have pretty much a set of questions. Yeah, I'll probably, and like I told you, they're all about like who you are, what you do, why you play, and your experience as a player. So I'll hold a brief pause before I do the intro so that I have a little bit of a clip, and then I'll just jump in.
Sure.
Hello and welcome everyone to another MMO Anthropology interview. I'm Amarist, and with me is Odin Knight, and we're sitting around in Starfleet Academy. So welcome to the MMO show, so to speak, Odin.
Thank you very much for having me here.
So my first question, of course, is why did you choose this location for the interview?
It's something that pays a bit of respect to those who want to learn more. You always find yourself going back to the basics. In this case, Starfleet Academy would be the basics for any sort of Starfleet officer that wants to go and explore space. And whether it's in this game here, where it would be DPS tanking, this game needs more exploration, in my opinion. But that's a different topic altogether.
I totally agree.
Yes. But, that sort of thing. You always want to come back to where you started out, learn the fundamentals, relearn the fundamentals, revisit it, and see if there's something that you missed. And then if there is something you missed, or you gain new insight in how to do the same thing, but in a much more efficient manner, then you become an even better person. So that's why I picked this place here. So revisit back to the fundamentals of the game, the fundamentals of learning STO all over again.
And so tell me a little bit about your name. How did you come to use Odin Knight as your handle, like everywhere?
It started way back, and it was actually outside of gaming where I got the name. Both this name and my original name, which was Dark Knight UCF. And I went to University of Central Florida, go Knights, and I was actually trying out for the American Gladiators show. And I didn't make it, obviously, or else you would have seen me on TV, because I couldn't run the obstacles fast enough. But there was one portion there where they would have the joust, and they gave us pugil sticks and put us on a wobbly platform, and it's pretty much knock the opponent off and see how well you go. Well, they had a single elimination round where you stay up there as long as you can until somebody knocks you off. When it was my turn, I got up there, I just kept going and going and going, and nobody would beat me until they had to shut down the whole thing at that point. So, yeah, and I was wearing all black with, like, my gold UCF shirt, and so they called me the Dark Knight. And so I figured, okay, Dark Knight at UCF, I'll carry that on with me. It went into World of Warcraft, went into gaming, and when I transferred servers, somebody else already had Dark Knight, so I figured, okay, let me pick something here that would be a little bit more standout, but not over the top. And I'm thinking, Ulduar is going to be released soon. Let me pick something that would be the Knight of Odin. So Odin Knight came to be.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, talking about your captain, who's sitting across from me. So, why did you like choose the appearance that you have for your captain, like the dress and bald?
My avatars tend to look a little bit like me, so I tend to project that a little bit. Obviously, I'm nowhere near as dashing as this guy looks like. But yeah, the bald head's definitely me. The DS9 uniform actually is something I like. The DS9 is my favorite Trek series, so pick that. I love the Defiant. Can't go wrong with that.
Well, that actually brings up a question that I didn't think of asking, which is, what is your ship?
Prior to the second a veteran's reward ship, which is the Manticore, I would fly the Defiant almost exclusively. Like whatever tier it came up with, I would pick it. Escort, Defiant, pick it. If I couldn't pick it, I'd pick something else, and then I'd get back to Defiant ASAP. With the torpedo theme, and I'm wanting to do more consistent, steady DPS, but deliver big punching power, the Manticore serves better than the Defiant. If the Defiant had command seating, I would be in that ship. I love the skin. I love the show. I love the way it looks. It's a hot rod. It's the antithesis of what I typically play, which would be tank type of avatars. So yeah, this is just straight up pure DPS. Nothing but mean, hot rod looking, punching power, destroying power. So
okay,
that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, so back to this captain. Would you say that this captain is your main? And if so, do you have any alts?
Yes, this captain is my main. For a while, it used to be my only. I'm not an alcoholic by any stretch of the imagination. But it was only within the last year and a half that I actually started investing a little bit more in different alts. And hindsight being what it is, if I wanted to do like a pure min-max build, I would go on my Romulan tune and then invest everything into that tune like I've done to this tune here, my main. But since this is the one I started with since STO began, first in its alpha testing and then beta testing, took a break and then came back in when it launched, I'm staying with this tune. This is my main. I'm going to ride or die with it. So.
Okay. So, how long have you been playing MMO games?
MMO, I remember. The first MMO I've actually played that was not a MUD, for those who actually don't know what a MUD is, a multi-user dungeon, I forgot the last D, but Dungeon Dimension or something like that. That was like text-based, you know that, the text-based mudding, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Linux boxes all over at UCF, and then NetTrek on when we did that, when we had our Spark server up and running, we ran NetTrek on it. Just Jim, system administrator over at UCF. Sorry, we ran NetTrek on it. We didn't invite you. We're sorry. But the first like big graphic MMO was Earth and Beyond Online, where Alpha and Beta tested that. Yeah, way back then. Way back then.
Wow, it's too bad that that's kind of left this earth, because that was an interesting experiment, I felt, at the time.
It was way ahead of its time. What it was doing was revolutionary. And even the way they did the avatars, it was beautiful until EA changed everything at the last minute prior to launch. The models looked, for the time period, the models looked like they were realistic, like you expect them to look like real people. For as great as a graphics engine could drive that, it was great. And then they changed the look and feel of the models 2 weeks before launch, and that was a huge turnoff for a lot of us that were there. But the game system itself, like you find weapons and you can be able to reverse engineer them, and then when you get the schematics, you can go and sell them to other people. You could be a trader, a fighter, or an explorer. You could literally go through that game and not kill a single thing and level up and make money. And it was like no way. How can you do this in a freaking MMO? But they did it, and they did it well. And there is a group that still updates the game every so often. I'll see if I can put a link into it here, and I'll give you the link so you can link it to your channel as well.
Sure.
But they actually have the server called Sunrise, and they actually still have that game there. Now, if a big studio actually wants to, invest some money into it, bring in those programmers there, and then modernize the game, I think that would be the MMO that would, at the very least, give World of Warcraft in its heyday a run for its money, if not topple it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that kind of leads me into my next question, which is, do you have an experience with other MMOs? I know you've mentioned World of Warcraft, Earth Above and Beyond. I'm curious as to, like, how do you generally play them? What's your generalized experiences across MMOs? I know that you mentioned earlier that your playstyle is generally to be the tank. How did you end up, falling into that role?
Okay, answering everything there quickly. Everything from other MMOs were like Shattered Galaxy, Aeon I touched a little bit, Rift, a lot of the WoW clones I played so often. League of Legends, I do, prior to the last meta, I haven't played in like about a year and a half, but prior to the last meta, I was a mean jungle sivir. Yes, it was way off meta, but it worked. I went silver. For a casual player, that's good. Warcraft 3, Warcraft 2, StarCraft, and Brood War. I was the Terran Commander on Battle.net, and another name I can't say on here because we're going to keep this G-rated, but Terran up that, and then you can figure out the rest. But yeah, I played a mean Terran. Myself and this other guy, Zats, Ambrose, you know who you are out there. We were banned at UCF, so we could not play together on the same team because his Zerg and my Terran, we would wreck people. It was a sight to behold. I played a bunch of different games. Stuff that I play with my daughters are like little, cutesy sort of games and whatnot. I have a little Candy Crush with them, sort of thing. A big chess online player, but. Typically, it's the MMOs, and it's typically STO, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, Diablo 2 and 3. Yes, I still touch Diablo 2 every now and then. Lately now, it's been a Division with a couple of the guys at DPS After Dark. And just been having fun whenever I have free time, not being a dad and not working or studying. So, as far as what got me into tanking, I guess it's kind of always been the protector type of role, like a paladin, since the Dungeons and Dragon days when I've been waiting for basketball practice on Wednesdays and I needed something to do and I didn't want to study, so went to the library, found a couple people playing pen and paper D&D, joined up with them, been playing off and on ever since. And the paladin sword and board has always appealed to me. It's kind of like the protector of the light, the protector of the people. You can do battle with people and yet, still heal them and protect them. That appealed to me. It appealed to the person that I am. So I played with that, and I like that archetype. And when World of Warcraft came out, it was perfect. Oh, City of Heroes also. I was the tank type. Yeah. Invulnerability EM. That was my build, and I nailed it. But I was also that tank type protecting people. And, paladin, knight, protector, tank. Yeah, it all wrapped up into one. And that's where the names came in. It was perfect. I just enjoyed the hell out of it. The one moment that actually got me away from tanking in World of Warcraft was when we were pushing progression against Illidan, and we were going for the 10th spot on the server, and our warrior tank, I'm just going to keep all other internal politics out of this, but our warrior tank was just not meeting muster, and the raid leader refused to let a paladin tank step up and tank Illidan because they said Illidan would shear you, you can't block, you can't do this, you'll die, you'll be a risk to the raid, blah blah blah. But we kept wiping over and over and over and over the same damn mechanic, the same damn time with the same damn tank, and nothing was being changed. So I decided to pug it with I didn't know at the time of another guild that was moving up in the ranks quickly, and I helped them get their first Illidan kill, which was also my first Illidan kill as the main tank against Illidan. And the GM and the raid leader saw that, and they were like, "Why did you go with them and do it?" And I was like, "Dude, no one was raiding this week. I just went, to see what we would do. They wanted another tank. I came in there. We tanked it. They gave me a shot at it. They liked my performance. 3 other pulls later, we got it. What's the problem?" And so they gave me heck about it. And I said, "Okay, you know what? That's fine. We'll wait till next week and we'll see what the council says." Council met up, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, they said I was benched for the raid for going with a different guild at that point to get the kill. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I retire as a tank. And so they said, we need to use an off tank and we'll be able to do this. I'm like, I retire as a tank. G quit. A couple other people G quit and protest with me as well. And then we went and joined this other guild. And then we got them their kills too. So, yeah, exactly. And then from that point on, I just went straight ret. Didn't look back.
Yeah, don't mistreat your people. I think is probably a takeaway there.
That is the biggest takeaway from it all. If you as a leader cannot see what your people are capable of doing, then that's a fault on you as a leader. You're not putting your assets to where they're best utilized. Yeah, somebody may be the oddball in the situation, but that's where you need to step up and say, okay, how am I going to be able to take their talents and their quirks and make it work in our system? And you figure it out. And while a lot of people used to make fun of gamers, 10, 15 years ago for, just being gaming and not doing anything else productive in their lives, World of Warcraft, for me specifically, helped me become a better project manager. Because I took 15 or 25 people, organized schedules with other people, developed who had what skills, worked with them to make their skills that much better, put them all in an environment where they had to work together. Now, different attitudes, different beliefs, different time zones, different mentalities, different abilities and disabilities, and make it all work together to accomplish a common objective. That's a real world skill that people are paying $60,000 and $70,000 a year for. This is not a joke anymore. Raid leading, if somebody says they were a raid leader, they put that on their resume. Were they successful? Can they make a diverse group of people work together for a common good? And were you successful in doing that? And if there were 3 yeses in that, welcome aboard. How can you help me do the same thing in real life with this here so we can meet the project and finish it at least on time, if not ahead of time?
Yeah, I think that's actually very true, and it's something that's come out repeatedly in a lot of the reading and research that I've done into how multiplayer gaming and MMO gaming have affected people who, especially people that run guilds and things like that. But to shift back to Star Trek Online, I'm curious, are you still playing this game regularly with your much more busy schedule?
A lot less, but I come back every now and then. The STO dev team with Ambassador Kale, forgot. Sorry, bro. They just did a live stream on how the devs were playing on Tribble a little bit earlier. And Chuck, your mom. Chuck is the our ground guru who likes to do a lot of DPS on the ground, and he's been teaching me a couple things on the ground. So he's actually brought me back a little bit into this game so I can work on my ground game while I'm doing torpedoes up in the air. Obviously, I have to bring the torpedo motif down to the ground, so anything with torpedo kits, I'm using it. So exactly. Come on, if you got a theme, roll with it.
Yes. So what do you do in a regular day in Star Trek Online?
Check in with the DPS After Dark crew, check in with Reddit, check in with the Science Channel, see how everybody's doing over there, check in with Star Trek Battles, check in with my Latinum fleets, the fleet that adopted me once I came back into this game. And see how everybody's doing, see what they want to run, or if they need help with something, and then do the Borg tour, blow up a crystalline entity, You know, I wish they would do another Crystalline event so I can actually put out this freaking video that my daughter and I have done, and Astro Zombie helped produced it. So we've been sitting on this thing for the longest while, waiting for the next event. Cryptic, let's do it. But you know.
So you mentioned that a fleet adopted you when you came back, and that fits right into my next question, which is like, do you have a fleet, and how did you find it?
The fleet that I still hold dear to this day, when I came back into STO, I knew next to nothing. This was like a couple of weeks before Delta Rising dropped. Mechanics of the game have changed somewhat. I've been trying to play catch up. I was completely lost. I started loading up on my old Borg DHCs and seeing if I can just go and tear up ISA like I used to, or ISE, but there was no ISE anymore. There was only ISA, no elite version. Like, okay, fine, it should be easy. And I'm going in there and I'm like, I only did 3K. What the heck is wrong with me? This is, no, something's wrong. Something's wrong. So I was literally sitting lost in a corner somewhere in ESD, trying to, you know, Google and YouTube and Reddit search, you know, what's the meta for the builds and everything else. And then this one avatar came up to me, Al-Qaeda, and she just like messaged and said, hey, how you doing? I see you're not in the fleet. What's going on? I was like, I'm just trying to figure myself, you know, in this game and figure what I want to do. You know, but I appreciate you coming and asking me first before just giving me a blind invite and expecting me to join.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And it was just like, if you want to do actual recruitment of real people, do it the way she did it. Because that got her not only bonus points, but freaking loyalty points. To this day, I will not talk ill of Latinum fleets. Love them to death. They're great people. They're a small fleet, but, well, small compared to, like, the Breakfast Club. But they're still big enough and they're social. They're very much players. They have a wide range of players, and they all help each other out. They're a great group of people to run with. If you're just coming back into STO and trying to figure your way out, or if you're new to STO, join them. They'll be more than happy to have you.
So, I'm curious about your experience and interpretation of the broad community of Star Trek Online. What would you say that the temperature of the community here is?
Right now, I don't have a very accurate pulse.
Okay.
In game, but from reading the forums, which I still check up on very regularly, whether it's Reddit, the official forums, the Steam forums, or any of the other fleet websites that I've been invited into, they're kind of feeling a little bit left behind as far as a game that keeps them entertained. And something that you and I both have silently nodding our heads on when I mentioned it beforehand, the game feels like it needs more exploration into it. There was a bit of it early on where it was starting to develop it, and then for whatever reason it was abandoned. I don't know if it's because of the sale and acquisition by Perfect World, or if it was just a development change or whatever. I don't know. But that feeling that the exploration direction was just abandoned completely, to make it more of like a arcadey type of shoot 'em up, which I enjoy, mind you. When I want to get my ship fix on to go blow up some Borg, this is the game I come into.
Okay. So, how would you say that you use MMO games differently than you do other forms of entertainment, like TV, movies, or books?
This MMO games can, for me, is like I say about 75 to 85% of my entertainment for my own free time. Including the kids, I would probably ramp them up to about 90% when we do play online games. Yes. So it's not like, you know, TV and movies will catch that once in a while, but it's, you know, gaming is kind of a way of life for me as a kid, growing up with, like, you know, Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and then going into you know, the PC gaming as a standalone machine. And then once I got into UCF, it was just like, oh my gosh, there's this thing called the internet, and I could talk to people from Australia and Japan and China and Europe all at the same time. Holy hell. That was a whole eye-opener and a cultural explosion for me. And on top of the playing games, I got to know people in different places and everything else. And I want to have that for my girls as well, without the whole, you're a noob being spammed 50 times over.
Oh, yeah. So you've introduced massively multiplayer gaming to your children as well.
Yes, yeah, whether it's multiplayer online games like River City Ransom Underground was something that my daughters and I were playing, because we used to play the River City Ransom one on our old Nintendo, which still works, mind you. So when I heard River City Ransom Underground was coming out, my middle daughter's the biggest fan of it, and she plays online every so often after she's done with her homework. And so she plays with different people, and I would actually say the community there is very friendly. She also plays Roblox with some of her friends, and that's also another massive multiplayer game. It's kind of like Second Life for kids meets Minecraft. So
oh yeah,
yeah. But it's good to be able to have them think of creative ways to be able to not only stay entertained but also use their brains to build something and be constructive with something and work with other people who may not be familiar to you to achieve an objective. Because in real life that will happen.
Oh yes. So last question, and this one is the big one that I always leave everyone with, and that is, what is your favorite or most memorable thing that's happened to you in an MMO game?
Okay, aside from the whole paladin tanking Illidan and then just calling it quits at that point, oof, there's a lot of them. All right, for STO specifically,
Sure.
being the first Torp boat to actually come in and do HSC and then top the leaderboards for a couple of weeks, because I was like the only non-energy meta build up in the top 10 for quite a while, and holding the #1 spot pissed off some people, and other people were like, "Wow, you did it." But I did it with the help of a bunch of people who taught me the game mechanics, from Jay, the Fallen Phoenix, Vel, Jarvis and Alfred, Alfie, Thomas, who I forgot his gamer tag name, but Thomas LeBaron, whenever you get back in there. A couple other folks are on there over at Reddit, the mathematicians there. They helped me out a lot in understanding the game mechanics. And because of their work and then my interest in torpedo mechanics and trying to get that going, just pushed me up to the top. And I sat there for a while. So in STO, that was the proud moment there. And it encouraged a lot of people to say, oh, wait, some people saying torps are bad, but, yeah, they have their issues, but we're able to work around some of these issues and do very well with them, even if it's for a moment. And now looking at people like Aponte and Astro, Ernest, E30 Ernest, the biggest side torper out there, much respect to you, brother. He handled business in a way that I'm thinking, yeah. And he keeps coming back and saying, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even have tried this. I'm like, that's my legacy. I could suck for the rest of my life at STO, but I have left a legacy here, and I'm proud of that. And that legacy came in part because of the people that I've learned from when I came back into the game.
Brilliant. And of course, thank you so much for that story. This is all the time that I've got. So everybody watching, thank you so much for coming along to this MMO Anthropology interview. I've been here in Star Trek Online with Odin Knight, and I want to thank you so much for your time as well.
Thank you very much for your time here, and I appreciate the honor for coming on.
Absolutely. And to everybody else, good night and good dreams.
So night. See you later, folks.
Perfect. Excellent. That was great. Can I get you to stand in front of this window for me so that I can get just, yeah.
Standard or action?
Oh, whatever you like, actually.
Let me see if I can do this thing here.
Oh, actually, let me... Yeah, hopefully that will probably do, because the problem that I suffer in Star Trek Online is the fact that my character is always sucking up part of the screen. But I think that should do just fine. Because as long as I record a couple frames with you standing in a way that I can clip you out to do a thumbnail, everything is wonderful. So that was awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Dude, thank you for it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know I already said that, but it has indeed been very interesting, and I really like the amount of breadth of experience that you have, having gone through so many different games, and also listening to you on the show, speaking about Star Trek Online. I would really like to bring you back at some point and just do an interview about torpedoes, because I mean that is, if there's anything that I remember you from Star Trek Online about, is that you're, as the way I put it, advocacy for torpedoes, or the way that you put it, the kinetic community.
Yes.
And
yes.
That's a little bit outside of my research, which is more about people. But I mean, it's certainly an artifact of the game mechanics and the way that people approach it, and you have an extremely unique vision of it, I think, because like when I happen to like that torpedoes exist, but the fact that they're a little bit problematic, or in my case, I like mines, but mines are extremely problematic, sadly. But there you are. So.
Yeah, I could go on for hours of both torpedoes and mines, but I'll spare you the pain on that one.
That's fine. I will release you back into the wild and run off here. And thank you again. I hope that your evening, I think it's probably about midnight around there by now.
Yeah, it is. So, I was actually going to invite you if you wanted to come on one of the runs, on any of the SDFs up there. I'm just going to do one or two of them. Sure.
Actually, I wouldn't mind that. That would be great.
Which one would you like to do?
Don't know. I don't actually do STFs very often. Did you want to do one of the more standard ones, like infected space?
Yeah, we'll. How about this? We'll queue up for crystalline and infected. Both of those are typically pretty quick. So, oh yeah, you're leader. You queue up for both of them then.
Yes. Okay. So crystalline entity. Yeah, that one at least. Yeah. There's always. Yeah. Make sure that it is the double arrow. When this changed, it got a little bit. I had a little bit of trouble, keeping track of how it worked, but now I'm much more used to it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wanna. I'm glad that it was changed, but I think that it still needs some help. Okay, so infected space is the conduit. You want to just do a normal or an advanced on that?
Advanced on both of them.
Okay. Advanced. Yeah. I think infected space is in fact the conduit. I just haven't done I haven't done those ones in such a long time. And this is my very first captain, Cassandra.
No, what made you pick this one here?
She's actually, when I first got Star Trek Online, it was a buy-to-play game, and I was given the options of a bunch of different species, and I thought Andorians looked really cool because I like the antenna, and so I just made an Andorian, and she unfortunately never made it out of the tutorial because the game crashed my computer every 15 minutes.
Ooh.
And so I restarted it like 4 times in a row to try to get her all the way through the tutorial, and eventually gave up. And so when Star Trek Online went free to play and I had a new computer, I was like, oh, I really wanted to play this, and I don't have the computer that crashes anymore. And I loaded up, and there she is. I'm like, oh, I totally forgot. I already had a captain.
Nice.
And so I've just kept her forever. And yeah, this time when I came to interview you, I picked her because she is literally my oldest and greatest captain. And so I thought it was, in a way, I wanted it to be in my mind, it was a little bit of a homage to the fact that you are like one of the older players that I know about who has affected the game so much for me. Oh, player decline.
Oh. We'll get the next one.
Yep. She's also my tank. She's the one that ends up with the... She has the Odyssey, and when the new T6 Odysseys came out, she got the T6 one.
Oh, sweet. Perfect. I love running with tanks.
Yeah. She's also, like, part of her was when I was learning survivability. So I was good at shooting things, I just wasn't good at surviving the return fire. And also, she becomes the test bed for stuff, people. It's one of the reasons that I like to do the recordings in game with people, these interviews and such, is because it shows that there's other people around and active in a game, and that it's a social space.
We probably should have went to a little bit more social environment than if you wanted to see more of that. Someone in ESD or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but the idea there is to have the person being interviewed choose the space. So, like, because that's one of the questions. Why did you pick this place? And I thought that your reason was was extremely compelling. Oh, there we go.
Let's go. It's crystalline.
And crystalline torpedoes are very good against.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Up. Avoid eating too many Tholians.
No such thing.
Whoa.
Oh, still got it.
Oh, wow. Yep. I love it when that happens.
I'm a little bit slow and rusty, but still got it.
Where someone blows up the crystalline entity before it even gets a chance
pulses.
to explode. Yeah.
Quantum phase going out to strip the shields of the target, and the rest of these torps is going to land there and blow it up.
Oh, does the entity have shields?
No. It's just the recluse that I was just targeting.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to launch freaking. I'm such a baddie. I didn't even go down fighting on that one. The crystalline could have died faster.
Yeah, that one
used to old macros again.
Yeah, that one exploded so quickly that I wasn't actually able to ramp up all the things that I do. But actually, with the entity, that's mostly hitting stuff that I can eat the pulse.
Well, you did me a favor by keeping a lot of the Tholians off of me long enough to be able to sit there and just blow up the entity. And that's what I love about it. We could probably see if we could queue up for ISA at this point here too. So.
Okay.
Interesting
to
see that.
I'll grab you. Oops. In just a second. There we go. There. And then I will hunt down ISA. All.
Let me see if I could load up this fun thing here. Hold on 1 second. Stream is going to go off for a second. Oh, good. We're back on here.
Yeah, we should be queued up. Yep.
Sweet.
So what platforms do you stream to nowadays? nowadays. Like I think it was YouTube that I saw you on last.
Yes, I still
with
am
the
on
Division.
YouTube.
Okay. And when I'm doing personal streams, I will multi-stream, and YouTube is one of the ones that I stick it on, even though there aren't that many people there watching it from YouTube. I like to have it there because then I can go back. The streaming platforms, especially Twitch and Mixers, old videos, so you don't have much of an archive. And of course, I'm often a lot about archives because I like to be able to go back and look at old events for you know what, in order to re-record or contextualize new events.
I used to be a fan of Twitch, but I got in on YouTube streaming, and I've been hooked since because it's just been convenient to have it all there, and I could put it in playlists and searchable indexes, and then link it exclusively to all other channels. Yeah, it worked out nicely for me.
You're using Go Down Fighting. Okay, I'll.
Yep, no, you're good. You're good. You can heal me whenever, if you want. Not that I would ever yell, "Heal me, heal me!" I hate that crap. Oh my gosh, I used to feel so bad for my healers whenever somebody yelled, "Heal me, heal me!" I'm like, shut up and quit taking stupid damage.
Yeah, I have the strange fortune of starting out as a healer, because I generally do support in MMOs. That was my World of Warcraft experience.
Gotcha. Now, which type of healer were you playing then?
I was, for a very long time, a holy priest.
Oh, wow. So you must have liked a lot of the changes early on then.
Yes, and then after I burnt out on being a holy priest, I started learning ways to use a shadow priest.
Incoming torpedo spam.
Whoops, damn it. Well, these are tougher than I remember.
Ah, yeah, I wasn't focusing on some of them. I'll fix that.
I'm gonna...
That's more like it.
Alright, coming around. Yeah, one of the things that I like that happened in Stone is that they fixed subspace interception, because for a long time that just was not working.
Subspace interception?
Yep, that's the one that causes your ship to jump onto an endangered ally, and then you make them invulnerable briefly.
Oh, okay. Oh, this will not end well. Help!
Oh, sorry.
It's all good. Not your fault.
I was like...
too aggressive.
Because I used interception to get to you, and then tried to use my heals, but they were... One of the things that I think I really wish that interception did was target the person that you intercepted. Oop. So that once you're on top of them, you've got them targeted, which means that you could throw heals on them just by clicking your heals.
Exactly.
Ooh. That's what I should probably do, is that when I use interception on someone, I should probably just use my bubbles. So those don't need a target. But that is very holy priest thinking. Gotta save someone, put the shield on them first.
And then heal them up.
Yep.
You know, I think that it's possible to make a macro if they work. Like my targeting macro right now feels a little bit buggy because it's not doing the forward arc 90 degree. It's targeting crap behind me. I don't know if I need to reset the HUD and then go after that and fix it again, but some sort of targeting macro might help a lot too.
Yeah.
To where your intercept will actually work out.
Yeah, intercept and then use a targeting macro that says target closest, because I should be the closest to the person I just intercepted. Wow, that was good. Brilliant. Yes, subspace interception is something that I thought was a really interesting idea, and especially because it makes the person invulnerable very briefly. That you use subspace interception on, so it's really good for someone who is taking a significant amount of damage. It says, plus 35 defense to yourself, teleport to nearest ally, if they're below 50% hull, they're untargetable and immune for 4 seconds. To 8 seconds, duration increases on the ally's hull percentage. And so I can sometimes use that to jump in and stop someone from exploding if it's up.
I wonder if you could use that a little bit more offensively, like especially something as scripted as ISA. If you know there's like one heavy hitter that would come in with the, say for example, the right side spheres spawn, and then the attack cube comes out. You know somebody's going to be grabbing a lot of aggro at that point because they're going right after all of that at once. Jump, they're immune, and then all the threat suddenly comes to you.
Yeah, and if you're running like where your shields shoot back, or you've got mine. I also use I'm using the Terran set, which gives me the disruptor shield.
Oh yeah, that's nice if you're boosting disruptor damage.
Yep. Not so. I mean, like it doesn't work as well against Borg because it's not stopping plasma damage against me, but it does return fire with disruptors when I'm getting hit. So it also increases the amount that they'll shoot at me, because they'll shoot at me more because I'm shooting back almost automatically when they're shooting me. So it's more likely that they'll hit me, and then I just click things to stay alive and then return fire with FAW or something similar. Hoping to whittle them down and then let the single target DPS blow them up.
True.
Well, that was great, and I almost got the Endeavor from that. It gave me 75% of my Endeavor, just those two. All right.
Sick.
I should probably run away for the evening.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun.
Indeed, indeed. If I'm online and you ever see me online, by all means, you're more than welcome to come join us and run with us around, whenever the DPS After Dark crew's on.
Brilliant. I certainly wouldn't mind being able to join in and run around a little bit in The Division, because I have not gone back to that in a while. And when I saw you playing, it was like, oh, I really want to tune in and watch this, but unfortunately it was at a time I had too much else to do. So I went back and I just watched bits of the video later in order to see what you were up to in The Division. But
whenever you're ready, man, we'll bring you over. We'll have some fun doing it.
Absolutely. Let me wave. And thank you again. I'm going to run away, and you have an excellent evening.
You too, sir. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And for everybody else that's listening on here, y'all have a good night, and I'll check y'all later. We'll see you out there.